Hey everyone, it's Allison from MGD Crochet. Thank you so much for stopping by today. So today we're going to be working on this gorgeous crochet basket. It's a fairly quick project and it's also very beginner friendly. And as you can see, the basket is nice and sturdy. So what I've done to ensure that is I've used 2 strands of Bernat Blanket Yarn held together to complete this project. So what I've done for this basket to achieve the nice colorful look is I actually used up a bunch of scrap Bernat blanket yarn that I had in my stash from previous projects. And as you can see, I've attached each of the ends together and made a couple of giant balls to work with. So I'm going to show you how to attach your ends so that they're nice and secure, and then we'll get into making the basket. So I've got 2 strands here, and what I'm doing is I'm bringing the bottom strand over the top strand and essentially creating a knot around that strand and then pulling super tight, really tight. And then we're just going to do the same with the other end. We're bringing it down and around the light blue color, and we're tying a knot around the light blue one. And then just pull the darker ones nice and tight as you can to make it nice and secure. And then we're just giving both long strands a nice little tug, and there we have it. We've got our magic knot, and then we just snip our ends, and then we're good to go. And then you can attach this as you go with whatever scraps that you have lying around, or you can just make one giant ball like I did. A couple of balls you'll need because we're working with the 2 strands together. So here are the balls that I've started working on from attaching my yarn scraps together. And of course, you don't need to use yarn scraps for your project, in which case what you will need are 2 balls of Bernat Blanket Yarn so that you can hold the 2 strands together. And of course, in the description box below, I have listed all the materials and details that are required for this project. But like I said, you need 2 strands of Bernat blanket to hold together for this project, a size 9mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and a stitch marker. And you'll also need a tapestry needle for weaving in your ends. So let's get started. So to get started here on the base of our basket, we're going to want to just do a slip knot and chain 2 to begin. And then what we're going to do is put 8 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. So start with 1 right there, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops. 6, 7, and 8. And that finishes up our first round of our base of our basket. So just getting ready to start our second round here. We're not going to be joining with a slip stitch to the last stitch from the previous round. We're just going to be working around into each stitch as we go. So we're going to put 2 single crochets into this first stitch. And what I like to do is on my first single crochet, I like to put a stitch marker just so I don't get lost as I go around each time. So there's our second stitch into that last stitch, and then we just put 2 stitches into each stitch all the way around, which should leave us with 16 single crochets at the end of the round. So just continue working your way around, and I'll meet you at the end of this round as we get ready for round 3. So just starting round 3, we've located our stitch marker from the previous round. So we're just going to remove that and put our first single crochet in there and our second one into the same stitch. And then we're going to put our stitch marker on the first stitch so we don't lose our place. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. And then the pattern follows 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So it's another single crochet there. Then the next stitch is just 1 single crochet. And then in the next stitch, it's 2 single crochets into the same space. And just follow that pattern all the way around to the end, and then we'll get ready to start the next round. So to start our 4th round, we're going to begin as we have been on each round, and we're going to put 2 single crochets into the first stitch and attach our stitch marker to our first single crochet, and then add a second into the same stitch. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet into the next and another single crochet into the next stitch. And then in the following stitch, it's 2 single crochets into the same stitch. So 2, and then 1 single crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. And then just continue around with that stitch pattern until you get to the end, and we will meet back and get started on the next round. So starting off on round 5, we're going to start like we always do again, 2 single crochets into the first stitch, and then the next 3 stitches we'll put 1 single crochet into each stitch. So 1 single crochet here, another single crochet into this stitch, and another one into this 3rd stitch. And then the next stitch, it's going to be 2 single crochets. And then the following 3 stitches, each will get 1 single crochet. And then just keep going all the way around until you get to the end of this round, and I'll meet you back and we'll start in on the next round. So we're back at round 6, and we're just starting off here with 2 single crochets into the first stitch. And then the next 4 stitches, we're going to put 1 single crochet each into those stitches. And then followed by that will be 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And then just keep working all the way around till you get to the end, and you'll have 48 stitches at the end of this round. And then keep going until you reach the end of round 8. You should have 64 stitches at the end of round 8. And I will leave the pattern notes in the description box, which has all of the stitch counts for each round, so you can follow along and just make sure you're on the right track with things. So I will meet you at the end of round 8, and then we'll get into round 9. So this is what the base of the basket looks like after 8 rounds. We should have 64 stitches at this point, and it measures approximately 11 inches across. So the next round we're going to get into making the sides of our basket. So just at the beginning of round 9, and to start things off, let's remove our stitch marker from the previous round and put a slip stitch into that space and just pull it through. And then we're going to chain 1. And in the next stitch, we're going to put a single crochet into the back loop only. We don't want to put it under both V's. We just want to put it into the back V like that. So 1 single crochet there, add our stitch marker to mark our first stitch, and then we'll do another back loop, single crochet into the next stitch, and we're just going to continue like this, back loop only, single crochet all the way around to the end of this round, and this creates a nice little ridge for the side of our basket. So I'll meet you back at the end of this round. So now that we're finished round 9, single crocheting all the way around in the back loops, you can see the nice little ridge there that it creates. So if we flip our basket and turn it inside out, which is how we're going to be working from now on, you can see it's already started to take shape there with the side, which are going to continue to grow with the next several rounds that we do working up the sides. So we just finished round 9, which was single crocheting into the back loop of each stitch. And now we're getting ready to start round 10, which will further grow the sides of our baskets. So let's just put a slip stitch into that last stitch there, and then chain 1, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into that same stitch, and then we're going to put a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So nice and easy, just a regular single crochet under both V's all the way around into each stitch. So then we're going to repeat this round 10, all the way until we get to the end of round 19. And then round 20 will be the round where we make our handles of the basket. So keep going around all the way around until you reach the end of round 19. And I'll meet you back at round 20, the beginning of round 20, to start the handles. So just a quick check-in here before we start making our handles. This is what our basket looks like so far. The sides are nice and sturdy, and they measure about just under 8 inches high. So yeah, we're just going to get ready to start round 20 and make our handles. So just at the beginning of round 20, we're going to put a slip stitch into the first stitch from the previous row and chain 1 and put 1 single crochet, and we're going to work 11 more single crochet, which will get us to the beginning of our basket handle, our first basket handle. So work 11 more across. You should have 12 single crochet in total before we start the basket handle, and I'll meet you back and we'll get started on that. So now we're ready to make our first basket handle, and that's just going to be 8 chains. So go ahead and do 8 chains, and then we're going to attach that after we finish up our 8 chains. Okay, and now what we're going to do is count across 8 stitches, and in the next stitch, the 9th stitch, we're going to put 1 single crochet, and that's going to attach our basket handle. And then just keep going around for another 24 stitches, and we'll do single crochets into the next 24 stitches, and then we'll start our next basket handle. So now we're going to get ready to start our second handle, and it's just the same as the last handle. So chaining up 8 chains and then counting across 8 stitches from the previous row, and attaching on the 9th stitch, which will attach our second basket handle. And then once you've done that, just continue around with single crochets to the end of the round, and then we've just got one last round to go before we're done our basket. Okay, so I've just done the first few stitches of round 21, and I've got a couple more stitches to go before we reach the basket handle. And once we reach the handle, all we're going to do is just insert our hook under both V's of all of those chains and do a single crochet all the way across. So just continue on with single crochets into each chain. They could be a little bit tight, but just take your time with it. And then just keep working all the way around till you hit the second basket handle. Just do the same thing, all single crochets all the way around until you reach the end of the round, and then we're gonna fasten off, weave in our ends, and finish up the rest of the basket. So I will meet you at the end of this round and we'll finish things off together. So just got a couple stitches left here on our final round of our basket, and then we're going to just remove that stitch marker, first stitch from the previous round, and put a slip stitch in there, pull through, and we will use our scissors to trim our ends like that, and then we're going to pull our yarn through to just secure the knot there, and then we are done. So before we weave things in, I'm just going to give it a nice little look over here, and I can see there's one knot of yarn join that's poking through. So I just poked it through onto the inside of the basket. You can just go around and do that. No one's going to see that on the inside. And here we have our ends that we started with. So I'm just poking them through here with my fingers, just using my fingers, just poking them through and getting ready to weave those in, because now they're on the bottom part of the basket, so no one's going to see them there too. So you need your tapestry needle and just thread that up. And I like to do a few passes weaving in and out with my yarn just to make sure it's good and secure. This basket's not going to get a lot of wear and tear because it's just going to hold stuff and sit on a counter or a shelf. But nonetheless, I still like to weave everything in. So just going to snip my ends there and go ahead and weave in the second one. Just weaving in my last couple ends from the top of the basket. So I'm just going to go around the top and back under a few times here with the V's just to make sure that things are nice and flat looking, and then down the side of the basket and up a couple times also just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. And then we'll just do the same with the second strand there, that our end that we had cut off, and then we are all finished. Thank you so much for watching today, and hope to see you on the next tutorial. Thanks again and take care.